Alright, welcome back to another Leader Gold van video. This one's a little bit different to the one that we've already done. Instead of modding up the boxes, we've done what we do on a lot now, and we've just fully welded on our own new box. So inside that box is two 340 amp hour lithium batteries. And then this van was running just the regular Manager 30 RedArc system that Leader and Supreme do. And then now we've just swapped it out for a full Victron system. Tow vehicle here. What we've done on the tow vehicle is just installed an ignition controlled isolator under the bonnet. For the DC charger, we've allowed to turn off all the DC input settings, the voltage settings. It just charges at 50 amps and then turns off and the car turns off. Works perfect. I've got the aircon just running. Drained the battery out of it this morning. Just want to make sure the solar's doing its thing. So RedArc Manager 30 screen was up there, and then you had the RedArc Manager 30 down here and the shunt outside. So we've installed the IP67 shunt outside of the battery box, and then pretty standard system for what we're doing. 3 kVA inverter, 50 amp DC charger, 70 amp solar. So it's all one circuit on the roof. We've got our double pole solar circuit breaker for compliance, Cerbo, and our shunt. Now we've got a fuse panel here that's doing a couple of Victron bits plus their breakaway system, and the diesel heater, just some additional stuff, which is outside of the master switch. And then we've got another MIDI fuse panel bank down here, all labeled again. Master switch is up here, which is just the factory one, and it's controlling the 12 volt fuse panel up there. So we've got one small 12 volt fuse panel that's blade fuses that'll do our Victron bits and a couple of other pieces that was aftermarket. You've got a solar system that has 5 solar panels up there. We've kept the 2 original 210 watt panels and added 3 225 watt panels. So we've managed to fit almost 1100 watts. It's 1095 watts. Realistically, the customer should be seeing about 950 watts coming in, just with the slight difference in voltages. It's all run in series, so it's a 100 volt array. And again, all of our fuses are all under the one panel. So if there's any issues, you can troubleshoot from the one panel rather than having to lift up each panel individually. And then the only other thing that we sort of did here was just relocate the breakaway battery. It was on the back panel and we've just moved it onto the side, just to give us a little bit of extra room for our Victron system. So I've got the aircon running at 30 degrees heating. I've had the door open the whole time, so it's not actually heating much. I'm just running the battery down so we can get that solar cranking. You can see we're drawing 112 amps through the inverter. Right, that's the shunt. And then if we click into the inverter, so at 240 volts, we're actually pulling 6.2 amps, which is your 1300 watts, which is what you're reading up there. And then your 1465 watts also adds this wattage amount onto it. Plus you'll have conversion losses from your DC to your AC through the inverter. Now, solar, click on the solar, and you can see we've got 60 volts coming in at 2.4 amps, transferring it to 12.8 volts at 10.9 amps. Now, it's reading 12.8 volts just because the aircon is on. What I'll do now, I'm just going to kick it into overdrive. So we've got the kettle also boiling now. We've had the little inverter overload alarm. That's just because this wattage number here is over the 2400 watt of what it's rated to. So the inverter is sitting here operating in overload, but it will happily do that until its internal temperature comes up, and then it'll tone itself down essentially based on its internal temperature. You can run both things together, and then what I'll do now is I'll turn off the aircon. Might take a second to turn off. So aircon's now off, and you can see our voltage there on the batteries just jumped straight back up to 13.2 at 82%, and then we've got our 140 watts of solar coming in, which it's only 7:20 in the morning, so it's very early for solar wise, so you're still just getting your 10 amps of solar in. If we turn off our master switch to turn off our DC system, we're almost seeing that 10 amps there. So that was the Leader Gold. If you've got any questions, drop in the comments. I'll do my best to answer them. And yeah, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. So we can see here, we're charging 530 watts from the alternator. Say if I turn the fridge off, for example, 530 watts, we're getting 34 amps in on our net. So the car's just been turned off, and you can see straight away down to 0 watts. Now that is because under the bonnet of the car, we didn't just install a voltage sensitive relay. We have installed one of them, but we hooked up the ignition wire to the power window circuit on the car, which is an ignition controlled circuit. So car on, runs, car off, isolates that Anderson plug at the rear straight away. And then that way, on the Victron DC charger in the rear here, we don't actually have to set any of the voltage parameters. I'll show you. So on the Bluetooth app, what we've done is we've just disabled. So we've got a Leader DC charger. By using the ignition wire from the car to control the Anderson plug, it allows us to just completely turn off any engine shutdown voltage settings or any input lockout settings. They're both just disabled for the DC charger. So it's working perfect, exactly how it's meant to, and it'll ensure that they get the full amount of alternator charge whilst they're driving.